We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully your day is going well. It is Friday. This is also going to be a TikTok live. So we're doing a TikTok live. We're recording it, and it'll be the podcast too. Now, I don't always do that. I do it frequently because I like doing it. We get a chance to talk to a lot of people. But I'm on the road right now. And I'm headed to later today, as if you're listening to the podcast, or on Friday, I'm going to the airport in Orlando to head out back home to Minneapolis. Now, I was in Savannah, Georgia. We got about 2-3 inches of snow. The whole place shuts down when that happens down in Savannah, Georgia. And we've got cold weather in Minneapolis. It'll be up to about 23 degrees by the time we get there, which is actually not too bad for Minnesota this time of year. So I've listened to a lot of things. I know what's going on, some of the crazy, goofy shit, but I'm going to bring in some of the regulars too to kind of help me out because I know they're more on top of it than I have been today. I spent a lot of time on the road. So let's bring in TJ Plummer. TJ, what's up?
Hey, Mike, what's going on?
Well, I got to give full transparency. I'm not in my normal situation, whether it be Savannah or Minneapolis. I'm in a small boutique hotel. Just picture this, if you will. A small boutique hotel in Jacksonville Beach, right off the beach. Beautiful place, absolutely beautiful place. But I have none of my equipment. I don't have a tripod. I don't have any lighting. So I'm in this boutique hotel with horrible lighting. I don't have a tripod. So what I have jerry-rigged to set this up, I have a ice bucket, and then to hold my phone up on top of the ice bucket, I have my shoe. So this is all class here today. This is all fucking class today.
Hey, Mike, all that bougie equipment is overrated.
It is. It's about. It's more about the content than anything else. I'm going to bring in some of the other guys too, and we're going to talk to a lot of people. I promised that we would bring some other people on. So I got Analytical Iowan and Will. I haven't seen Rebecca yet, but I'll bring Rebecca up too when I see her, if she wants to be on. But I just want to say to you guys, two things I'm going to count on you guys for. I'm going to count on you for bringing us up to date with all that happened today. I mean, I know some of it, but I know you know more about it, so we want to let people know. And I also would say, let's make our points and do whatever, because I want to bring as many people from the audience on the show too to keep things rolling. So that's kind of a pre-production meeting during the show. I'm not that classy. So Eric, Analytical Iowan, some crazy fucking shit. Talk about Donald Trump and his amendment that went to court and got shoved down his throat.
Oh, are you talking about him trying to overturn the 14th and judge automatically 2 days later saying nope, we're putting a pause on that. That executive order can't go into effect.
Well,
and this is only one of them.
Yeah, this is just one of them. And this proves the point that you've been trying to make for a long time, and I've been trying to make. Donald Trump comes out and says, we're going to overturn birthright citizenship. And everybody goes, oh my God, what happens when he does that? You and I and TJ and Will have always said, whoa, a minute, motherfucker. You can't just dictate stuff and have it happen. Of course, somebody sued over it. A lot of people sued over it, like 20 states sued over it. It went to a federal judge. And the federal judge wasn't too nice about it. He said, this is mind-boggling. This is blatantly against the Constitution. Yeah. No, motherfucker, we're not going to do that. And that sounds like a lot of legalese, and I want to translate what he meant in layman's terms. What the judge was basically saying is, Donald Trump is a dipshit. He doesn't know fuck all. He doesn't know fuck all about the Constitution, and all the people that follow him don't know fuck all about fuck all either. So there you have it.
Can I explain? Go ahead, Will. Can I explain something about this real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, TJ.
So the judge basically said why the fuck didn't the lawyers, proofread this thing before giving it to Donald Trump? And
Exactly.
the fact of the matter is, they probably did that. However, they can't tell Donald Trump no because he's a child and he'll throw a tantrum and say,
Right.
I can do whatever I want. So to avoid the conflict with Donald Trump, they just said, yeah, Donnie, we'll do it. We'll do this for you. And of course, Donald Trump's an idiot and he doesn't know any better. So all his legal advisors just got totally embarrassed because they knew that this is a blatant violation of the Constitution. But because Donnie was going to throw a temper tantrum, they just went ahead with it to look stupid.
Well,
Yeah,
they've been
the
doing that
judge
for
just-
months. They've been doing that for months and years. Donald Trump continues to embarrass his lawyers and put them in bad situations and get them sanctioned. Some of them even disbarred. Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, the judge just basically said, to quote Hamilton, "You must be out of your goddamn mind." That
Yeah.
was, I mean, they didn't. It's gone. He said that the judge just said you're gone. I mean, they'll appeal it. Let the fun begin. But I mean, it's just what we're going to see for the next 4 years because people are lining up to sue him for everything. They caught some poor guy in New Jersey in one of the ICE raids who's a legal citizen. Now
Yeah.
that's going to go to court. It's going to get.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, this was the first pushback on what we're about to see, and it's going to be a lot of pushback. We all got to remember, it's only been 3 days, and the shit's already hit the fan.
Yeah. Well, and the thing about it is that Donald's strategy is going to work against him now because everything will go to court, everything will take forever, and he's only got so much time as president. Somebody else just asked me in the DMs, and somebody here on this live, Riley Doc, says, "What do you think about the Republican senator proposing a bill for 3 terms?" Now, people are all worked up about that. Oh my God,
Ignore
he's going to get
it.
3 terms. It's the same shit. It's not
Ignore
going to
it.
pass through. It's going to not pass through Congress, and even if it did, it would be a lawsuit because it goes against the Constitution. Not going to happen. It's just fucking
ignore
noise.
it. This is just some senator, someone just trying to stroke Donald Trump and make some brownie points. It's nothing they haven't seen before, and I'm seeing creator after creator. Like, no, I even saw Brian Tyler Cohen do one. No, fucking ignore that. What's more important is the tax plan he's about to lay out, which includes penalizing people for being single parents. I saw your video, Eric. That's disgusting. That's what's important. This is all fucking gaslighting and smoke and mirrors right now for us.
Well, okay, 2 things. One, on this 14th Amendment thing, what they're trying to do is they're nitpicking words on the 14th Amendment. They want the courts to change the interpretation of under the jurisdiction thereof when it comes to citizenship. But here's the thing: if Donald Trump does that, and they get their way, and they change that interpretation, that means undocumented immigrants are not subject to U.S. jurisdiction. They can't be arrested. They can't be detained. They can't be deported.
Right.
Donald Trump don't know fuck all about fuck all. But they're thinking, well, if we make them not citizens, we can do whatever we want. No, that's not how that works. You've now given them
You want
diplomatic
something more-
immunity.
You want even more
Immunity,
something
right.
even more stupid, including in that first executive order, they want to use a 19th century law saying that Native Americans aren't part of birthright citizenship. This sounds like a joke. Native Americans, where are you going to deport them to? Reservations? How about the land you originally took from? It's ignorant shit. It's all just, if you're
absolutely
brown, it's bottom line is, this is an attack on everyone who's brown skinned. ICE agents couldn't tell a Samoan from an Indian, from a Mexican, from a Cuban, from me, a Puerto Rican. This is all about, if you're brown, they're going to go ask you questions.
Right.
Welcome to this world.
Well, that happened in Newark, New Jersey today. ICE went after a bunch of people and detained American citizens and violated their Fourth Amendment rights. It happened today.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what consequences? I want some consequences, but there won't be any.
Well,
There won't be any consequences. That's what I'm concerned about. Someone better figure what we can do, because this is bullshit.
this is
'Cause
what's
now it's
This is what's scary about that, Will, is that right now Donald Trump suspended all civil rights investigations. So you could
I know.
file a civil rights violation, but it won't get investigated.
No.
Right.
So,
And here's the thing.
So if a law enforcement officer violates your Fourth Amendment rights, there isn't a damn thing you can do about it right now. So they can stop you on the street, demand your papers, and there ain't a damn thing you can do about it.
Demand your papers. Where have we heard that shit before? And here's the thing too. There are videos before Trump became president, they had a dry run in Bakersfield, ICE and Border Patrol, and in Fresno. There is no one picking anything in California right now. Strawberries, fruits, vegetables. They're sitting on the vine to die. Okay, guys, you voted for Trump for grocery prices. Guess what? You're about to get totally fucked. Are you going to pick them? I don't see any white boys out there picking it. Where are you?
Yeah.
Where's your jobs? There they are.
All right,
Come do it.
All right, guys, we pulled in Rebecca too. Hey, Rebecca, how you doing?
I'm good, Mike. How are you? I see that you
Not
were
too-
trying to get a word in edgewise here tonight, huh?
Well, I explained to these guys beforehand, we're going to try to pull in a lot of people. So no filibustering, make your point, and then we move on to the next one.
How often
I know
do
that's
I
hard.
actually do that?
You don't. I didn't tell you.
So I was
Tell the
trying to
other
request
motherfucker.
to be on your live, and some guy
Yeah.
named MAGA Trump Republican, every time I tried to request to be on, his name popped up, like to put me on his live. I was like, what is going on here?
Jesus Christ! Yeah, these are some dipshits out there, and I'm just going to say something about what's going on now. The fact that what's going on with the birthright citizenship and the third term and all this stuff, we're actually pretty lucky that this stuff is so unserious and so silly and so out there. They've got really no credibility in doing this. It's not like they're hunkering down and coming up with strategies to do this. They're just throwing shit against the wall. So I'm not as worried about it as if they were serious villains trying to do something. They'll never accomplish these things because they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Jesus Christ, you're blocked.
There's a few of them out there I'm seeing. But like on the third term thing, they don't have the votes in Congress. It's performative, but the way it's worded, it's very specific that it would only apply to Donald Trump. The whole third term amendment thing, they want to try to make it a constitutional amendment that says, well, if you got one term and then got voted out and you get voted back in for a second term, you could get a third term. But if you were elected to 2 consecutive terms, you only get 2 consecutive terms. Jesus Christ, how much more blatant do you have to get that you're kissing Donnie's ass? It's
absolutely ridiculous.
It's a stunt to kiss his ass, and they're playing for an army of one, an audience of one right now, to make him happy. And for what?
And here's the thing. Donald Trump isn't going to last another 4 years. And when I say that, I mean either physically, mortally, or politically. Because the Republicans are going to get tired of getting shit on every day. And that's what's happening. They're being embarrassed. Releasing the 1,600 insurrectionists, doing all this crazy shit, talking about tariffs, going to the international economic thing and embarrassing himself once again. They're not going to be able to keep doing this forever. And Donald Trump may not even be in a position to even be considered for a candidate, even if there was some remote chance they could do it. I'm just saying, don't worry about Donald Trump. The Constitution doesn't allow him to do it, and he won't last that long.
I mean, we're one Big Mac away from J.D. Vance. I say within the next 6 to 8 months, honestly.
J.D. Vance is better. At least he's smart enough to know what he doesn't know. And he won't be flying up by the seat of his pants. He may try to do some evil stuff, and you might have to watch him a little closer as to what he does. But it's not going to be this blatant stupidity stuff. We're going to be, it's going to be better than whatever Donald Trump is attempting. The biggest debate with Donald Trump is that he's an idiot and a toddler. So they're giving him whatever he wants at this point just to make him happy. Like this executive order on immigration, on the 14th Amendment. The people around him knew it was going to get overturned, but you can't tell him no, so he signs the damn thing. and they're just sitting back like, well, we told you.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. I'm going to pull somebody in here. This is somebody we've talked to before. He's also a creator on TikTok, and his name is Richard Green. And Richard, I'm going to give you the same advice I've given the other guys here. I'm going to try to get to a lot of people on here and talk to a lot of people in the audience because I don't always get to as many. So this is for me and TJ the Plumber and Analytical Iowan and Binder and Richard Green. No filibustering. Let's make our points. Let's get to it. You notice I didn't mention Rebecca because she doesn't do that bullshit. We all do. So Richard, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I will be short and to the point. Donald Trump is the most talented political leader in American history. Number two, he will be able to change birthright citizenship because the Supreme Court has wiggle room to interpret it, to not allow people who were the fruit of the poisonous tree. And those are my two comments for now. I'll shut up.
No, you don't have to shut up. I think you tend to do this, Richard. You tend to take the fatalistic side, and you obviously know I don't. I think to suggest Donald is the most talented, he's certainly the dumbest, without question. He's been able to bully his way through with a bunch of weak people, the Republican Party. Now, you think he's going to? You think he's going to be able to take this to the Supreme Court and get birthright citizenship turned over?
No way.
That's a lot.
I'll make you a bet. When it goes to the Supreme Court, you're going to have at least 5, maybe 6 votes saying that the people who created the 14th Amendment to allow slaves to be able to retroactively be citizens because they were born on American soil to help the slaves become part of American society, that is not going to be allowed to cover for illegal people coming across the border and dropping babies. I think
that's not illegal. He's talking about people who were legal immigrants and had children. They're talking about that.
No, but that's
total. It has nothing to do with illegal.
No, but if you have broken the law, so the slaves, when they had the benefit of birthright citizenship, they didn't break the law. They were brought here against their will. When you have somebody breaking in, according to the Republicans, breaking into the country, breaking the law to do so, and then dropping a baby to get the benefits of citizenship for their child, that is a very different thing. And as a lawyer, I am telling you that this Supreme Court could very easily make that distinction.
Well, they could, but will they? Will they in that situation? I think Donald Trump is going to be losing ground, losing momentum here as he continues to fail at all the things he does. Now, I will tell you this, Richard, you do have credibility because you are a lawyer. That said, I don't like most fucking lawyers. I like you, but I don't like most lawyers.
I haven't practiced in 35 years. How about that? You like me better now?
You're a recovering lawyer?
I haven't practiced since I represented Tony Robbins back in 1985, and then I left to do motivational speaking on my own. But to the point, I have never in my life, and I'm 70 years old, I have never seen anybody be able to take an entire political party and bend it to his or her will like Donald Trump has.
Is that a test to Donald Trump's talent or the weakness and the malleability of the Republican Party? I mean, we've got it on both sides, Democrats and Republicans. These are some weak motherfuckers.
You should see the movie The Apprentice. 2 of the actors in it are up for Academy Awards, Jeremy Strong and Sebastian Stan. And it chronicles how Roy Cohn taught Donald Trump pretty much everything we see in Donald Trump today. Never admit you're wrong, cheat, all of that. And Donald Trump was the apprentice to this horrible psychopath who was brilliant, Roy Cohn, and he took it and built upon it. And he is so brilliant on how he's able to take over everything. And the reason, for example, he wants Pete Hegseth and he wants everybody else is because he wants sycophants. And the reason he pardoned the January 6 people is he wants his own private militia that has immunity. This man is thinking way ahead of us, Mike. He really is.
You know we're not going to give in to him. You know we're going to fight him every inch of the way.
With
You know
what
that's
power
what's
do
going to
we have?
happen. I don't.
Bishop?
Well, you know what? I'm going to get very upset right now because I'm not giving up. You know, I am mad because I'm the only person of color in this room, and you're telling me I should lay down, and let him butt fuck me. I'm not
did
doing
not
that,
say
sir.
that.
You did say that. And I'm pissed
Mike,
off
did I
right
say
now
that?
because you
Mike,
say he's not a
Trump has a
genius.
color,
It's a
it's
cult
blue.
of personality. And I'm
Hold on a
pissed
second.
because you know how many people are going to suffer for this shit and you're laughing? God
I'm
damn it.
not
Now, hold on a second. You got to give Richard Green a little credit here. He's not laughing about it. I will say you do tend to have a fatalistic approach to things. You're looking at it as a lawyer and you're analyzing it, and I can appreciate that, and I respect that. You talked about Roy Cohen. He is evil. He is a fucking lawyer, too, who was.
I don't like lawyers either.
He is brilliant. Donald Trump is not brilliant. He learned a lot of things from Roy Cohen, but he's been able to co-opt everybody around him. When he owned his own business, everybody were yes men because they had to be. Then when he got to the Republican Party, he proved that he could pull money and votes and attention. But the moment he can't do that anymore, the moment he becomes less valuable or a liability, which has always been my suggestion, now that he's got the presidency, what more can he bring these people? What more can he give them? He can't get reelected again. I don't care what anybody says about the third term. That's not going to happen. All he can do is embarrass him. I mean, there are people out there. I had somebody come to me and said, there are Republican senators ready to vote to impeach this motherfucker because he's an embarrassment and he's going to hurt them in the midterms and in 2028. I just don't. I don't think he's as powerful as he was in 2017. I think he's lost credibility and lost power with the Republican
But here's
Party.
where the plot thickens. This is where a supporting actor, Elon Musk, comes in. If Donald Trump has Elon Musk in his pocket because he has things to give to Elon that Elon desperately needs, he wants to be close to the most powerful man in the world. Elon has how many billions of dollars, right? And that money absolutely is going to be used and already is being used to threaten Republicans running in the House and the Senate in 2026. You either suck up to Donald Trump or Elon's going to finance a primary challenge to you in your district. That is classic, potent politics. And by the way, I am not a Trumper. I did not vote for Donald Trump. You can look at my videos.
I just defended you. I said Richard is he's very rational, and sometimes that's and sorry, Boomer, but like sometimes people, thinkers come off as they don't come off as emotional. They don't come off as I'm a very rational thinker. And but I'm a woman, so I have that emotional side to me. But like sometimes really rational, intelligent thinkers just don't come off the way that other people want them to. It's just
what I've noticed by doing the things I do, I get a lot of positive feedback, and I'm happy for that. But as well as trying to be rational, I try to be pragmatic and realistic about things. And I've always told people, if there is no hope, I'm going to tell you there's no hope. And sometimes you say things that people don't want to hear, and that's unfortunate. You have to do that. And from Richard's point of view, he's saying something that I don't necessarily want to hear, but you got to listen to it and kind of pour it in the pot and figure out your own concept as to what you think is going to happen. So I'm not going to begrudge Richard for what he thinks based on, his background, his training, and that sort of stuff. I understand his point. I think you just give him too much credit. He's failed at everything he's done.
Well, he has,
except
and he's
winning the
president of the
presidency.
United States twice. So. Listen, he's not intellectually thoughtful or brilliant. He is street smart. and street smart can be dangerous. And what I'm saying is what Professor Timothy Snyder has been saying, Ruth Ben-Ghiat, all these historians who have looked at how demagogues and totalitarian people take over, and Donald Trump is following the playbook. And I went to Paul Revere Junior High School. You know who Paul Revere was? The guy saying the British are coming, the British are coming. So maybe it's in my blood just to warn people that this is a little more serious than we think, and we cannot. How many times have we thought, oh, Trump's done. Oh, don't pay attention. He'll never do this.
Many times.
He keeps winning. He keeps fucking winning because he's street smart and he has a plan.
He's winning. He won the last time because America is racist and misogynistic. It's simple as that.
And he knows how to leverage that. He knows how to leverage that.
So I should admire him? I'm not fucking admiring
just be
him.
aware
I don't
of
necessarily
what
think
I'm
that's
totally
true.
fucking aware of that.
I think he won the last time because a lot of Americans were sick of politicians and he wasn't a politician. And I think he got a lot of votes in 2016 because a lot of Americans just were so sick of politicians and they thought, oh, here's a businessman. He knows how to run America like a business. And unfortunately, that's a horrible, horrible idea. And look what happened. But I think that's why he won last time.
Well,
absolutely.
Last time. He fell ass backwards president in 2016.
I tell you what, Richard, why don't you email me at some time? You can come on the program so we can kick each other's ass for a whole hour.
I just want to say to your 653 people or whatever it is that I just adore you, Mike. Thank
you.
No, we need more people like you because you are so no bullshit. You always tell it like you see it. You're just pure and authentic and got a huge heart. And I love just our friendship. And I don't mind and I don't mind if you push back. That's, we have to challenge each other because we're in for a really potentially challenging, if not devastating 4 years unless we pull together.
Well, the important thing to understand is whether Richard says something or Will says something or I say something or Eric or TJ or Rebecca, none of us know for sure. We're just taking a look at the situation as we see it, and we're deciding how we think it will turn out based on what we know. So there is no really right answers. If that were the case, Kamala Harris would be the president based on what I said. And for all intents and purposes, she should have been. There was no logical reason for Donald Trump to win, if not for the Democrats to fucking step on their own dicks. So it's good to have opposing views. I don't, put it this way, Richard, I don't mind arguing with you about this because I know you're smart and you know what you're talking about. It's when the dumb fuck Trump will fuck saying, he closed the Keystone Pipeline. I can't argue with those dumb fucks.
Let's talk soon.
Yeah, let's talk soon, Richard. I'll get you on the podcast when it's just you and me, and we can talk some shit. So that's Richard Green. He is, of course, on TikTok. If you aren't following him, you probably should. And Will, I understand where you're at with this because I have the same frustrations when people appear to be saying, well, all is lost, there's nothing we can do. That pisses me off because and I don't think that's what Richard was doing. I think he's trying to warn people and it comes off like scaring people, and I don't like to do that either. But I don't like when somebody comes off weak and saying we have no hope. Because what's the point?
Yeah, see, the thing about Trump, I don't think he's smart. He's just lucky. And this is a cult of personality. How the hell do you get poor people giving their disability check to him unless he's not, it just lucked into it. It's just a weird phenomenon that, let's be honest, you know who in 39 was the brightest guy, but he was the most charismatic. His generals hated him, but they kept kowtowing to him. So forgive me, because what I see from my standpoint, it's not good. And when they're, I don't give a shit. If I get rolled up by ICE, it's going to happen what's going to happen. But you see, Richard ain't going to be the one getting rolled up by ICE. I am. And see, when you say that, that's flippant. When you get flippant, that's not true because you're not acknowledging that a lot of us are really, I never thought it would get like this. This reminds me of what my mom told me about in the 50s and the 60s. That's scary, guys. I'm being honest.
Absolutely. I'm going to pull somebody up here.
Can I comment?
This is it.
Can I comment?
Go ahead. Go ahead,
Real quick.
TJ.
There's a general fear out there, and Will's right. There's going to be a lot of really terrible things that are going to happen. So I can say this. If you see something happening, film it. Take your phone out and film it. Even if the police tell you can't do that, they're lying. So if there's something going down that you think is, seedy or shady, get your phone out and film them, because that may matter in somebody's civil rights.
That's absolutely a good point, and I was thinking about this today. Donald Trump did something or his Homeland Security guy, whoever the fuck he is, his borders are, said that if we come in there and try to get people out of there, the illegal immigrants, and the police don't help us or try to hinder us, they can be prosecuted. They can go to jail for this, which I don't know that that's true. But I think our best defense is exactly what TJ said. Okay, you don't want pushback? Okay, let's have 1 million cameras on there, have it all over social media, all over mainstream media, and those optics will be so horrible that will do them in ultimately.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying that if the police do something, they'll get arrested. I'm not saying that because, they got that blue line gang that they follow. But what I am saying is that if they violate your civil rights, if they violate your Fourth Amendment rights, you can hold them accountable for that. And having that on film, if you go to court and they illegally search or seize you, and you have that evidence against them, the law enforcement officers can lose their qualified immunity, which means you can pursue them with civil action. So, like I said, if you see somebody out there that's getting shook down or whatever in this climate, film it or live stream it or whatever you're going to do. Just make sure that it's documented.
Absolutely. I'm going to pull somebody in here. I don't know this person. We haven't talked before, but I'm going to throw caution to the wind and see what she has to say. Her name is Jeanette. Is it Jeanette? Oh, she hung up. That's the second one that hung up on me. I pull them up. So you're requesting to be on, and then you get a little nervous. Now, this guy was on before, so I know he's going to accept it. Dolphin. How you doing? How you doing, man?
Change my profile. Change my profile pic.
You changed your profile pic?
Yeah, I was the young lady from the other day that you accidentally blocked me, but I actually would like to talk this time, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. I'm sorry you got blocked, but that happens when we get this burst of Trumplafucks in there. Some people get hit in the wrong time, and if that ever happens, just DM me or email me, and I'll make sure it's fixed.
We fixed it.
Yeah, it's all great. Gravy. TJ up there helped me out.
Great. What's up?
I'm trying to understand how he can do this to the Native Americans, but somebody said that he's going back to in the 18th century or 18th something law to be able to make it to where they don't have birthright citizenship.
Well, the thing you have to understand, he can say whatever he wants. The idea that he can actually do or to pull it off, that's vastly different. He's not going to be able to pull off something like that. That's absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's silly. It's unserious. I wouldn't worry that he's going to be able to do anything with Native Americans. That's crazy. But he can say anything. He can say that he's going to change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. It's not going to change. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. As far as this old law, basically from just what I've got, I hadn't heard about it until I got on the live. But just from what I've heard here, it sounds like he's taking an interpretation on this old law or a law that hasn't been enforced. If it's as old as if it's that old, well, the 14th Amendment has come into play probably since then. And he's basically hoping that the courts will cite it in his favor. Somebody on one of my videos commented that, yeah, he's thinking he's so smart that when they get into court, the judge is going to go, yeah, Donnie, you're right. You thought of this. Man, why didn't we think of that? And side with him, and they're going to change their interpretation. They're not. They're going to look at the 14th Amendment and say, it says any person born here is a citizen, and that's what they're going to go with. We've been dealing with that version of interpretation since 1898. I don't see it changing, because if you did, the amount of hassle and headache it would cause, it would upend everything. It would cause a ridiculous amount of chaos. How far back do you go at that point? You have to be able to prove your birth, that you had ancestors here before the 14th Amendment was written for you to have your citizenship. It becomes ridiculous. You can't do it.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I don't want to be rude or anything, but I mean, it did take over 100 years for Native Americans to finally become recognized as citizens in this country. So how does that work?
Well, if that law happened after the one that he's trying to enforce, then I'm assuming the old law would be null and void. He's just trying to bring back something that was dead. I mean, they're grasping at straws. They're looking for anything to make their plan work. It's not going to.
I believe it's revenge.
Question, ma'am? It's really simple. The victors make the rules. They conquer them. They push them into these areas, which they consider technically, when you cross into the Navajo reservation, you're in a different country.
Yep.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
So that's, that's the way they set it up. So to answer your question, why? Because, they conquered them. And it's a sad fact.
What was it?
Let me point.
Based on. Sorry, Mike. It was the 14th Amendment was based on what? Was it Dred Scott that the reason that they made the 14th Amendment?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was the Dred Scott. Yes. The one other thing I just want to mention, this is not all this stuff that he's throwing out there, all smoke and mirrors. I went to opensecrets.org because I love that thing, and I was looking because ICE is trying to build 4 new big facilities and 14 smaller facilities, privatized prisons. And when I looked up who has money in these privatized prisons on opensecrets.org, Donald Trump is the first freaking one. Then there's Rubio, what the heck is his name? Robinson, others. I'm playing the follow the money type game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what they're doing. They are trying to steal everybody's money. It's all about greed.
It is.
It is all about money. Here's what I'll tell you about Donald Trump. With all these things he's coming up with, I want you to think about this. First of all, Donald Trump is all about loopholes, whether it's being his taxes or trying to get out of a legal entanglement. He's always had the strongest lawyers, and that's why he's always got out of it. It's a little different when we're dealing on this level. And proof in point is that how many appeals has he won since he's been doing these appeals? Very few, 1 or 2 or 3 out of literally hundreds. He comes up with this bullshit, and not even a Republican judge. I'll tell you, the judge that said that his latest thing with birthright citizenship said it was ridiculous and unconstitutional, that man was appointed by Ronald Reagan. He is a Republican. He is a conservative. So, and not to mention the fact that Joe Biden, what did he appoint? A record amount of 245 federal judges.
Yeah.
There aren't many judges. I mean, he can try to bring it to the Supreme Court, but all this really takes time, and Donald Trump's time is limited. He really doesn't have 4 years because he'll fuck things up before then, and either the Republicans will get rid of him or he just won't survive. I think Donald Trump is on a short clock at this point, and if he fucks up enough, the Republicans are going to say, screw you. because some of this stuff is absolutely ridiculous. And none of it is going to benefit them when it comes to the midterms or the 2028 election. It's going to cost them dearly, and they're going to want to try to save themselves.
I think we as Democrats need to start pointing out the class warfare, because it's not just the racism or whatever. It's all misdirection. It is literally class warfare. It is the billionaires and millionaires against us.
I agree. That's what I've always said. It's not the Democrats versus the Republicans. It's them against us, because there's plenty of Democrats that play in that class war too. I think you're right. Everything about racism, that's serious, that's bad, but it is a distraction for the ultimate goal. As I've said many times, they don't want a lot of money. They want all the fucking money. And as soon as go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Dee, there's a few people in the comments are asking what that website was again.
Oh, opensecrets.org.
I haven't seen that one. I'll have to check it out. Is it a legit one, or is it one of those goofy ones?
Yeah, if you want to know who's investing in what stocks, you can look up congressmen. You can look up all sorts of different things. It's got Trump's freaking what he did release in it. It's got a lot of stuff that you would need to see. I mean, if you want to see where the money's going, what people are invested in, opensecrets.org.
Does it have the dimensions of his hand? I think that's something we need to know.
Honestly, Mike, I'm going to tell you, it's probably as big as mine, and I'll show you, right? Because
My
I have
hands aren't very big either.
I have Russell Silver syndrome, smallness of the hands, feet, and jaw. My pinky, if you notice, is only about the size of a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So he got tiny fingers.
A 5-year-old pinky, not a whole 5-year-old, because that would be weird.
Okay, look, thank you for having me up. I just wanted to, talk to you for a second and actually, talk to you, because when you brought me up that one time, I sounded like a freaking child. But I just wanted to, right. I wanted to get out this message to all Democrats. I think that's what we should be talking about, is the class warfare. Not all of this distraction, not all of this shit, but the freaking the classism that we're dealing with, the wealth gap, how they're moving the money. That's what I believe we should concentrate on.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Dolphin. And TJ, do not block her this time. God damn it, or you're fired.
It wasn't me. I swear it was Gray Captain. I swear.
Okay.
Yeah, he saved her. Greg Crafton blocked her.
Okay. Well, Gray Captain does a great job, and as I've said, when we're in the midst of this, it gets a little hairy out there, and I wouldn't be able to do this if not for Gray Captain, TJ, and Rebecca.
It does get hairy, and people say things sometimes, and it's out taken out of context, and it's really hard not to how to decide not to block them.
It is. Yeah. It's okay. I understand comments can be misread constantly. I've done it in my own life, but my lives aren't like this. My lives are about music, dancing, and fun.
I see your dancing video. But we as moderators, whether it's myself, Rebecca, or Great Captain, hey, we make mistakes just like anybody else.
That's right.
Something, and Mike's policy is if something's bad, we block them. And if we make a mistake, we apologize for that, but just send me a message, send Rebecca a message, send Great Captain a message, and say, hey, I shouldn't have gotten blocked, and we'll get a hold of Mike, and we'll take care of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dolphin, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to do
that. Come back anytime.
Yes.
Now, if you
Mike,
notice,
there was something someone brought up the thing that's going on with the CDC and the health situation, the health agencies, and it took me a minute to figure out what's going on. It's because Trump is such a petty person. He's getting back in the CDC and the health people for what happened in COVID. He blames them for what happened with COVID. So he's getting back to them. So he wants to control the entire narrative about anything that comes through there. I mean, it's scary because if something goes on, we won't know. We won't, because he's a petty man.
Well, it's funny. Donald Trump wants to relitigate things from the past, and we should be looking at the future, bringing down the price of eggs, bringing down inflation. When he doesn't do that, you would have to believe that some of the people that aren't Trump-fucks that aren't in the cult are going to go, well, what the fuck? I mean, that's the thing. He's so scattered. It's going to be impossible for him to get things done. He's just throwing shit against the wall, hoping something sticks. And when it doesn't stick, like this birthright civilization thing, I'm going to appeal it. Yeah, okay. You got a million other fucking things to do. When are you going to have time or the money to do that? So he's a bully. So he's trying to scare people, and it frustrates me when Democrats actually get scared. I'm kind of liking what's going on because it's so ridiculous. It's so silly. He's not a serious guy, and I think that's going to make it easier for us to contend with him.
Is the Ukraine war over yet? I want to know.
It should be. He said 24 hours after he got elected, and that was 3 months ago.
He'll have a plan in 2 weeks.
Yeah, is energy costs slashed by 50% yet?
Not mine. Not mine.
How about car insurance? Is that cut by 50%?
2 weeks.
Nope.
How about $1.80 gas? Do we have that yet?
Nope.
Gas went up.
How about 2% mortgage interest rates? Do we have that yet?
No, we don't have. God damn it.
How about the price of eggs when the bird flu hits?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
how about
bird flu, guys?
How about lower groceries or slashing the price of rent? What happened with all that?
He does not give a fuck about any of that stuff. He can afford the eggs and the groceries. He doesn't give a shit.
No, he doesn't care at all about that shit. Let's see here. I'm gonna grab somebody else up here.
See temptation.
I haven't seen her yet, but she'll just take over the show, and she should because she's good at it. This is Clara. Clara, are you there? Hey, Clara, how you doing?
Pretty good. I would like to know, is this a new account for you?
No.
I know it's off topic, sorry, but you popped up on my FYP and I was like, I know I followed you and I had to refollow you when I joined your live. So I was confused.
No, it's the same one, same amount of followers. I've been doing it for 4 years. I've heard that some of the creators, that when we had the shutdown, that some people got unfollowed. So no, it's the same one. I'm glad you were a follower, and I'm glad you're back and you found us back. How have you been feeling about what's going on the last few days?
Well, my husband works for the federal government. He's been in the VA for almost 15 years. So a really good friend of ours was affected by the DEI, his entire division. He's been in the VA for many, many years. And he was let go yesterday. And with the shutdown and the hiring freeze, not sure if he can find another position. I mean, this is a good friend of ours was sat at my Thanksgiving table, you know.
That's terrible.
So
very terrible.
I was just
unnecessarily too.
Yeah, and I was just reading the news. I saw that this does not have to do with Trump directly, but looks like Mississippi has now put forward a bill earlier today that letting bounty hunters go after migrants and people that are here illegally, offering $1,000 bounties.
Wow. And somebody out here, Candy, is asking, can you confirm a Republican from Tennessee filed to amend the Constitution for Trump to run a third term? He did do that, but two things. It's contrary to the Constitution and fucking Tennessee. It's fucking Tennessee. So, yeah, that did happen. I wouldn't worry about it. Donald Trump won't make it till 2028, and there's no way they're going to overturn what the Constitution says. It's just not going to happen. Anyway, Clara, how's your husband's situation? He's been there for 15 years. Is he going to be okay? Or is he going to suffer some problems with this too?
That's still to be determined. I mean, there's not, like you said, throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, right? So at this point, there's not a whole lot of guidance that's coming through from communication from OPM. He is considered a telework employee, but he is pretty much operated remotely for, since before the pandemic. And the thing is where we are, the office, there's not enough people for everybody in this area to get into that office. There's 12 desks, is what he was telling me, available for telework employees. So I mean, there a lot of these offices around the country that were reallocated or given up. How much money are we going to have to spend just to have all of the people that they are mandating back to the office to be able to work there? I mean, it's all, I agree that it's all a way to try and reduce the federal workforce across the board.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no logic or strategy to it. Donald Trump is just spewing bullshit.
Clara, it's a travesty what happened to your husband, and I really do hope that you find something else.
It wasn't my husband. It was just a really good friend of ours that he's worked with for years that got yesterday. But just like I was told people, just because it's not affecting us directly at this point does not make it any less heartbreaking, because it's affecting real people, and there needs to be more empathy in this country, and we need to care about others. Just because it's not affecting us doesn't mean it's not heartbreaking.
Absolutely.
And there's some learning lessons that are going on with this freeze too. And I sent this video to Eric earlier today about someone who did a TikTok, and they wrote a letter that they voted for Trump, and the man's wife got a job.
I saw this too.
Did you see this?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
she's a nurse for the VA that just got hired.
She got a job as a nurse for the VA, and they packed up all their things. They sold their house, and they were about to move to the new jurisdiction, wherever it was, which is
Waco.
quite a ways, apparently. And they did all that, and Trump's hiring freeze canceled the job, so she's not getting the job. And they're begging Donald Trump to have mercy on them, to give them an exception for this job freeze. Well, you know what? Fuck you. You voted for this. This is what the fuck you voted for. You made your bed. Now you fucking sleep in it. And you get what you deserve, because this is what the fuck you voted for.
Yeah. That's a little hardcore, but I tend to agree with it, Claire. What do you think about that? You got to be empathetic. You got to be compassionate. And there are people that are going to be suffering through all of this stuff.
To jump on TJ real quick, all the farmers like in the Central Valley are begging Trump for exceptions for immigrant workers, but they all fucking voted for Trump. So in that situation, I agree with TJ all the way.
Yeah, absolutely. But Claire, you're probably more empathetic than TJ or Will or Analytical Iowan. I'm saying Rebecca's pretty empathetic too, but maybe not. Maybe not. Well, how do you feel about those people that voted for Donald Trump? Do you feel empathy for them?
To an extent, yes. I think that a lot of that Republican base is not educated. We need to do a better job at educating the new younger generation that's coming up that will be voting. And I feel like we're going to head into a better direction with that. But I'm from the South. Actually, I lived in Waco. We lived in Waco for over 10 years. My husband was stationed at the Waco VA regional office before we relocated. We're in Colorado now. Been here for about 8 years. So I'm very familiar with, we know a lot of people that are within the organization who worked for VA for years and years. And it's, I don't know. There's just so much going on right now. Like I'm sure as everybody else, just trying to focus on my work, and still I'm getting like inundated with bad news left and right, which we all knew this was coming. We knew this was coming, but.
Well, I'll say this, Claire. You're right. People need to be educated. And I might say that those people that voted for Donald Trump that are suffering now because of Donald Trump they're getting a fucking education, all right. Hopefully they learn a lesson.
Yeah, I'm like most of my family's from the South, and most of them voted for Trump, of course. And so my mother's like, I just couldn't vote for Kamala. I'm like, why? Tell me why. Explain it to me why. Because I know I sent her so much stuff, and I tried to educate her through the whole process. But it also has a lot to do with religion too, unfortunately. That
Let me ask you something, Clara, and Rebecca can answer this one too. But Clara, let me ask you this. The one thing I've noticed when it comes to dealing, women seem to be harder on other women, like in the case with Kamala, or just in the office. They seem to be really hard on other women. Am I reading that wrong, or is that true?
Oh, no, that's definitely true, I would think.
No, that's true. I have never been one of those women. I've always been like kind of one of the guys kind of person. Like I'm not very, I'm not going to say I'm not feminine, because I am. I cry at freaking, like stupid polar bear commercials and puppies and kittens.
Who doesn't?
I'm very, I'm a very rational kind of person. And I don't make friends with a lot of women who are like super girly and so, but if you're a decent human being, I don't look down on any other women. I'm not jealous of any women. I've never been like that. But I'm also fairly successful in my own right in my business, so I don't really feel like I need to by any means. And I've nurtured every woman that's ever worked with me or worked for me. Like I'm just not that kind of person.
Gotcha. Well, Clara, thank you very much for joining us. It's great to hear your story, and please feel free to join us anytime you want. It's good to have a rational, intelligent mind now and again. We get them a lot here on the lives, but some of the comments I get, I'm going, who fucking dresses you in the morning? Jesus Christ. These are not the brightest people in the world. And hopefully they're getting an education.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for bringing me up, and I'm glad that you popped up, that I can see that I was not following you anymore. So hopefully you'll come across my feed some more.
Thanks, well, hopefully I do, and if I don't, you can always find me here or on YouTube or Blue Sky or Substack or something. I'll be somewhere. I'm like a
I liked your
bad
update
penny
during the election for sure.
Thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon, Claire.
Thank you.
Take care, Miss Claire.
And I just want to clarify something. It's not that I'm not empathetic for people. It's that I'm not empathetic for Trump-la-fucks. If you voted for Trump and you got fucked by him, that's your fucking problem. You did the wrong thing. Now you pay the consequence. We all have consequences for our actions, and elections have consequences. And if you voted for Trump and you got fucked, that's your fucking problem.
Well, and I think what she said about education applies to Democrats too. We have to educate ourselves. Those of us that claim to be Democrats. I don't claim to be a Democrat, but I'm siding with the Democrats, of course. We need some education too. It's good to be compassionate for people that deserve it. It's good to be empathetic for people who deserve it. But this decent person, this taking the high road and being compassionate for everyone, that hasn't worked out well for us as Democrats.
Nope.
So we need to know where to place that. There are people we need to be compassionate with, and there's others we just need to slap in the fucking mouth. And right that's now, unfortunate, but that's the way it is.
And Congress and Democrats keep talking about bipartisanship. I just want to say, fuck that. I mean, it's not going to work. I mean, all it does is lead to Trump getting things that he shouldn't get. They already approved another cabinet member today, and I forgot who it was. Why? Why isn't every one of these people being challenged? I'm getting aggravated because these people are shit. But Democrats just want to get along. Fuck that. We tried that. It failed.
Absolutely. And we need to change our style. Otherwise, we're just going to end up where we were in the first place. And we need to learn those lessons, and we need to educate ourselves. There's somebody else up here. Judy, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Did you take that from Goober Pile and Andy Griffith
Absolutely.
Show?
Judy.
Nice.
Judy.
And did you know that was his Cary Grant imitation, and he never ever said that, actually. That's the weird thing about it.
I know, but this is my moniker.
Okay.
So,
What's on your mind?
you know what? Well, what I would like to remind folks is it's okay to sit back for a limited amount of time and clutch our pearls and say, "Oh, what did we do wrong? And we should have done this and we should have done that." We're past that now. We're at
We
a
are.
point where it's do or die. We have to organize. We got to pick who the next one is going to be,
Yeah.
and downstream start setting up that chart of who's going to take care of what, and start that task list.
Yeah.
We just can't keep looking over our shoulders. We have to be on the charge right now. I'm an independent, but I feel all the Democrats are on the run, and woe is me, woe is me. We cannot rest on that. They've got us on the run, and we have to stop. Turn around and lift the sword back up.
DP Yogi said we need to do like South Koreans did, stand up. I don't know that we need to do it the way the South Koreans did, but they had the right mindset. They weren't going to stand for this, and they came out in force. And I think that may be what it is. I mean, with all the things happening, see if you guys agree with me on this. I think we're on the verge of a revolution. And when I say that, I'm not talking about fighting in the streets necessarily. That could happen in some areas in small scales. But there's going to have to be a big pushback and a revolution of sort, whether it be digital or popular opinion or whatever. But that's what we need to shift the waters here in what's going on, because the Republicans have the momentum and they're running with it and they're acting crazy with it. We need to stop that. We need to change the course. And that means a lot of people are going to have to stand up and talk some shit.
Absolutely,
Like-
but it does not mean that we don't have to reach across the aisle and do the support. We have to do that. If we're going to survive the next 4 years with a plan going forward, we still have to reach across. It may be futile, but we've
To
got to
whom?
keep reaching.
To whom though? These people are so unreasonable. They're not practical.
Everybody's got a soft spot. Everybody's
NACA
got a spot.
doesn't.
Yeah, they
NACA
do.
doesn't.
Every one of them's got a trigger.
A big part of their soft spot is they want to be reelected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it right there. We need to start election reform with a laser focus right now and get people like Elon Musk out of this ability and this clutch hold he's got, and the fear that people are holding, both parties, over being primaried, over never getting past being a mayor.
Yeah.
We
some
know
people have
election
said,
reform has to happen.
some people have said, and I don't necessarily disagree, maybe it's exacerbated now, but a lot of the corruption that we're seeing now may have been going on for decades. It's just that Donald Trump is a dumb fuck and brings it to the surface like a
Reagan
fever
administration.
blister, and now we're finally seeing it. Yeah, you're right. Reagan did some crazy shit. Democrats did some crazy shit. Maybe what only thing Donald Trump has done is he's pulled back the curtain of stuff that's been going on for decades.
I agree,
I have-
1,000%.
I have a thought on how this may change and might not even be in the American people's hands. I've been watching international response to Trump. When Trump came into power the first time, everyone thought, hey, he's a clown. The government will be okay because we have guardrails. Now they're not putting up with this shit. When someone in the
Right. They're
Danish
pushing
parliament
back.
says, fuck Trump, online, right in the parliament, you know there's something
That's
going on.
true.
But I really believe that if Trump pulls off the tariffs and starts rattling everything, Canada is going to shut off the power and the gas. That would change the electorate really quick. Because it may not be in our hands. It may be our international brothers and sisters going, not putting up with this shit. We're going to cut you off until you figure out what you can do in your house. They're going to sanction us till we figure out our house. And if you have no power, if you have no food, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you're probably onto something there, Will. I mean, if the international response is bad enough, but that's what I've been, one of the things I've been saying is Donald Trump is only useful to a point. Republicans are going to probably hit a point when they're going to have to say, okay, this is enough. We've hit that moment. It's hurting the rest of us. We can't be associated with it. They'll move. And as far as reaching across the aisle and being bipartisan, that's how we're going to get things done the next 2 years. Republicans can't agree enough to get a budget deal passed, a must-pass budget bill. They're gonna need Democrats to keep the government open, and that's where Hakeem Jeffries comes in and goes, yeah, I'll give you all of our votes. You'll get every single one. Here's our demands. No cuts to this, no cuts to this, no cuts to this, no cuts to this. And we'll back it. That's where so reaching across the aisle can be beneficial, but the Democrats have to play hardball and come in and say, okay, but XYZ, we want it done.
Right. Well, I think reaching across the aisle is important for some things, but there's going to be some crazy things coming through Congress. And at that moment, when that happens, we have to do what the Republicans do. Do everything we can to block, obstruct, shut it down. We've got to do it. Because even if we get some negotiation room on something that's crazy, we still lose. So we just need to shut that shit down.
Well, Democrats have always been known for better negotiating skills, abilities, and just the basic moral need to make it right across the board. So when it comes to negotiation, Democrats are definitely going to have the lead about that. And we can, take numbers and keep our notes, and we don't forget those notes. We know where every sticky is.
Judy, we're better at that than more than just what you're saying. We're better at diplomacy. We're better at legislating. We're better at pretty much everything. We're better at the economy. All around. Like the last Trump administration got zero. They did nothing. They accomplished nothing.
Right. Well,
correct.
I think Judy made a good point, though. In order for us to do this sort of thing, who's the leader? We don't know who the leader is. There is nobody that they've picked out and said, okay, you're going to be the leader. You're going to be the front man, the front person. They need to organize a little bit because they're just kind of scattered right now.
There are several good candidates out there. I'm not going to say any names, but there are plenty of them out there. We need to come to grips with the fact that, no, we don't eat our dead. We don't eat our young.
Right.
Pick a person, vet them, make sure everything is as good as we think it is, stand behind them, and push. And push and push and push. Because we can be David with the slingshot.
I think we should make a rule in Congress that if you're incontinent, you're done. I think that would be a fair bet, and I can think of a few people that probably...
That would definitely work.
And look at the Iowan laugh.
But does that apply to the president or just Congress?
The entire Congress. I mean, you can't tell me Chuck Grassley isn't wearing some kind of extra undergarment.
Chocolate chips.
That's who I was thinking. I was thinking Chuck.
That's why I saw you.
Grassley.
Well, that's what we said before, Judy. We need to get rid of the old people.
Chuck Grassley.
Yeah, I don't. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I don't think we need to just target the weak Republican candidates for displacement, because there are some pretty vocal and well-supported asinine blonde women who need to be shown the door.
Does she have a butch body?
Oh, that's the one. That's the one. That woman is feral.
Judy, you misunderstood what I said, though. When I was talking about getting rid of the old people, I'm not talking about Republicans. I don't give a fuck who they have. I'm talking about Democrats that have been holding us back, that have taken AOC out of her chairmanship and instead put a guy with cancer in there who's a fine guy, but we need a youth movement. When I'm talking about getting rid of old people, I'm talking about Democrats.
Yeah, well, I think it needs to happen across.
Talking about a woman who was in the hospital in Europe, would you?
Well, there's the one that was in the memory cure. That was a Republican. And she was there, Nancy Pelosi and Dianne Feinstein and Chuck Schumer we've got plenty of Democrats that we need to put back on the bench, let them go retire with $1 billion, and have some young, hungry people that understand how the game is being played today, not from back in the 90s.
Especially Chuck Schumer. Dear God, he's got to go.
I am going to be 50 years old in a couple of months, and I am dying for my retirement. I don't make a ton of money, but I'm still dying for my retirement. I don't understand why these people who have 50 times the money I have are still like, I mean, is it really like that do you need, at 90 years old, do you really need that power? Like, do you?
Apparently.
Over the money? Like, you could, like, live your life, enjoy your family, spend time with your, grandkids. And,
It's very
hard. I totally don't get it.
It's very hard to walk away from the top unless you have something better at the bottom. I know that sounds like psychobabble, but you can walk away if they have the right incentive.
Well, but there's part of it. But the other thing is, like here in Iowa, we talk about Chuck Grassley all the time and him being 91 and still wanting to run at 95 when he's up for going. But one of the reasons they keep putting him up, beyond him wanting to go, the Iowa Republican caucus keeps saying, run again, run again, run again. Because with him being in the Senate 45 frickin' years, or however long it's been, he's now the Senate pro tem. He's third in line for the presidency. He's on all the committees that he wants. Any committee he says he wants to sit on, he's got the committeeship. He's got the chairmanship. They're looking at it going, well, that's power for Iowa. He'll keep Iowa, interests going. They buy
It's
into
narrow-minded.
that bullshit. It's very narrow-minded.
Dianne Feinstein and fucking
right.
dies while he's there. Like,
Well, those suits are expensive. You gotta give her that.
But
Yeah, no shit.
these states look at it and go, well, it'll diminish our representation in the Senate if we bring in somebody new. So let's keep the old person in there forever. I mean, and even when they do, look at what I've talked about a couple of times. I don't know if this is still the plan. At one point, the plan for Iowa was have Chuck Grassley retire at some point, and then Kim Reynolds will appoint his grandson, who's my age, 40-something, Pat Grassley, to be the next senator for Iowa. So that way when you go for the special election or you go in when his term is up, you see the name Grassley, and people go, oh yeah, Grassley's been in there forever. He's doing a good job, and vote for him again, not realizing it's not the grandson. It's all a
nepotism.
game.
Yeah. There's one family who has been able to do what the Kennedy family did. And that's, I hate to say it, but it's the Trump family, because they have started this thing. Now everybody's getting this like laser focus on what's the kid's name?
Barron?
Duke or
Barron?
something? Oh yeah, that's
Barron.
the one. Yeah, that's the one. The Kennedy family was like, everybody knows that, and there is a Kennedy out there that, given a little bit more grooming, would be an excellent up-and-comer.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all have done your homework on him, but he's a little bit
he's on
the eccentric
TikTok.
side. Yeah,
He's on
he's a little
TikTok.
bit eccentric, but there's power in that.
What, RFK? Who?
No.
Jack
It's John F.
Schlossberg.
Kennedy. Yeah, Josh Schlossberg. He is John F. Kennedy Jr.'s grandson, and he's Carolyn Kennedy's son. And he's out
Yeah.
on
I've been
TikTok.
touching with a
He's a sharp kid. Well, he's not old enough to run for president, and Barron's
No, he's
got
not,
17
but-
years.
Yeah, but he needs some grooming. I don't know. I'm one of those people that you get I get a first impression, and unless you really do something wanked off, I'm going to stick with you.
Well, I think people have to understand this, that everybody says, well, it's not a popularity contest. Fuck, it ain't. That's all it is a popularity contest.
The big
Yeah,
part
that's
of it.
how DJT got there.
Yeah.
Your enemy is my enemy, therefore I'm your friend.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, Eric.
Well, yeah, it is a popularity contest. Donald Trump succeeded. And as I said earlier, he fell ass backwards into the presidency because he got a little bit of popularity he already had going into the election, and then he gained some steam in the primary. Before the Republicans could stop him, he's got enough delegates to win the nomination. He's got it wrapped up. But it is a popularity contest. So if we got a Kennedy, why not ride that name? And politicians have been doing that for years. I mean, going back to the beginning, you had John Adams, and like 3 presidents later, it was his son, John Quincy. They have been using the family name in politics forever. It's always been
FDR and Teddy.
Yeah.
Bushes, the fucking Bushes.
Yeah. So why shouldn't the Democrats do it now? If we could get a decent candidate running, sure, let's do it. But I think primarily going forward, though, whoever they run in 28 needs to pull in an FDR-style message. And I think they could have 2 terms easy if they start making any tracks.
It's got to start in the midterms. You can't wait till 28.
You should have started already.
Yeah, you got to start now.
The problem is there's still, with the old folks still trying to smarting from what happened, still blaming each other, and still trying to figure out the message. There's no one going to step forward. They keep blaming everybody else, and they want to change the message. They don't change the message. We need a new messenger. The message is fine. And the problem is that, I'll be straight up, this country's not ready for a woman. This country's not ready for a woman of color. There's going to have to be a white guy, and then we have to fix it, and then we can change it in the back end. Because obviously we found out that didn't work the last time.
Well, and the thing about it is everybody's going, who's the smartest? Who's got the best policies? Fuck that. Let's find somebody who can win, and then deal with the person, as long as they're not crazy, to get some decent things done. I mean, it's unfortunate. You would think the electorate is more sophisticated. Well, we found out they're not. 49% of this country don't give a fuck about Roe v. Wade, don't give a fuck that Donald Trump had 34 felony convictions. They don't care. So we have to understand who our audience is and who we're appealing to. So we need somebody who portrays strength, maybe has the right look, says the right things, maybe not as crazy as Donald Trump, but we've got to adjust because our market is different than it was in the 1990s. We're more informed and mostly with bullshit.
Yeah, if it's not somebody now in their early to mid 40s, we're not going to track this generation now that did step in for Trump.
Absolutely.
There's a Texas, there's a Texas fellow out there now, and y'all can look him up at some point, named James Tallarico.
My brother sent me videos of him. He's Republican, by the way.
I know that, but he's conservative. He's conservative. There's no doubt about it. But he's a conservative we can live with.
I can't.
He's a decent guy, and he's got some integrity. Although I will say this, Judy, once you get the power, whether you be in Congress or whether you be the president of the United States, that can change some people. Some people that appear to be have integrity once the power gets to them. So we have to find somebody that is somewhat controllable and somewhat decent, but also has the TVQ to get the fucking votes.
Yeah, we need an arm wrestler. I don't know where Cuban is on that, but
arm wrestler.
Somebody's going to have to arm wrestle the rest of who all's going to be propped up, because I'm telling you, for 28. It's going to be a huge field, and we're all going to be so divided by the time somebody does finally end up getting the whole thing. We're going to be back to clutching our pearls and say, what are we going to do?
You're absolutely right.
At minimum, right now, we should be vetting anybody who's a prospect.
Yeah,
true.
Like for any stones in the closet, just completely vetting anybody who is a prospect. Because
I mean, look at how Trump is going after Gavin Newsom. I think that's part of it because he hates him, and 2, he fears him. Honestly, Gavin Newsom
definitely
could step up, because he will go after Trump hard. And he's
California doesn't need the U.S. I mean, they need some of us, but what? They're the second largest economy,
fourth largest
or the
economy.
third
they could
in the world.
survive on their own.
You know who doesn't need vetting? You know who doesn't need vetting? Josh Shapiro, my governor.
I don't know. I didn't like his take on the Luigi thing.
Yeah, he's made a couple comments, but in all fairness, they were justified.
Well, you have to understand something about Josh Shapiro. Josh Shapiro was the Attorney General for our state, so he was the highest law enforcement officer in the state of Pennsylvania. So of course, Josh is going to take a standpoint on law and order over anything else. So that makes sense to me. Like, he's not a bad guy. He's actually a personal friend of mine. And he doesn't really have any negative qualities that I can think of. You know, I know that they're going to try to, blast him out about being Jewish or whatever. You know, I know that's going to be coming down the pike if he does run in 28. But Josh Shapiro is a solid guy. He's always done right by me, and he's done right by Pennsylvanians. I would.
What about Buttigieg?
Buttigieg is a good guy. He's a smart guy.
Yeah,
Love
he's
it.
really
So smart.
Biden heavy. He's Biden
So
heavy.
smart.
He is smart, and he would be a good president. But if they aren't going to elect a black woman, they aren't going to elect a gay man. And it's sad to say, but they aren't.
You also have to think about one other component about the whole thing too, is that having a presidential candidate from a swing state is the best thing that could probably happen. If Josh Shapiro ran for president in 2028, he'll win Pennsylvania without question. And that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of electoral votes.
The only thing I will say about Josh is this. We're coming into a new era where young people are going to carry most of the votes, the millennials and Gen Zs, by 2028. And Josh has all the good qualities for a president. The fact that he's Jewish, that may or may not work against him. I'm not really worried about that. The only thing about Josh is he's very slick, and he gives the air of establishment politics. Now, keep in mind, Donald Trump winning, he is contrary to establishment politics. People are tired of politics. That's why they voted for him, stupidly, but that's what they did. So I don't know that he may be too slick for it. I may be wrong, but that's my feeling.
I don't really.
I like that ticket Debbie just did. Newsom Shapiro.
I can live with that.
Newsom's fine. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
But the only thing is that they got to step up now. This is about resetting Congress. Because you're going to hold a presidency, but as Obama found out, if you don't have Congress, it's useless.
Well, that's what Harris is doing now.
Yeah, you have to reset Congress. You have to win back the House and the Senate for ever to make any changes. Because the problem is, like, Eric, we have all those ideas. TJ, I have the ideas what we should do. But if you don't have Congress, you're stuck with the same bullshit. You can hold a presidency and it doesn't work. That's our problem right now, too.
True.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but Shapiro could be a good choice. Newsom, good choice. Andy Bashir, good choice. Pete Buttigieg. I think it's easier to get Buttigieg elected. It would be easier to get a gay man elected than it would be a woman right now. I hate to say
True.
it.
I agree.
I think they would be able to.
Sad, but you're probably right.
I have said for probably 15 years that the first woman president will be a Republican, because Democrats would vote for a moderate Republican, but conservatives will never vote for a woman.
Yeah, and independents would vote for a moderate Republican woman.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Judy, thank you very much for joining us. You brought some
All
great
right,
insights.
thanks. Y'all have a good night.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Judy.
You're welcome back anytime.
Thanks.
I think they do need to get on the stick here and start finding some people to get behind and promoting them properly, because if we don't, we're going to be caught behind the 8 ball once again. We're going to.
They definitely need to start vetting. They have to find out, like, who's viable candidates who have no skeletons in their closet, who haven't said the wrong thing that's going to be brought up.
Well,
isn't it weird that it's a double standard, that the Republicans don't have to fucking vet anybody, but we do?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Fucking ridiculous.
it is ridiculous.
I mean, she was someone talking about morality. There is no morality in the Republican Party.
None.
They have none.
Clearly not. They elected a felon who's now like trying to deport felons.
And the nominee for the Secretary of Defense is a drunkard and a woman abuser. Truth.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm bringing somebody else up here. What's the name?
Damn it.
Hopefully he'll come up here in a moment.
Well, one thing Judy asked is, who's the leader of the Democrats right now? And here's the problem. Traditionally, it's the outgoing president, even if they're term limited. So after Gore didn't win, it was still Bill Clinton. He was still kind of the leader of the Democrats. And that holds true for both parties. So you would think it would be Joe Biden. But after what they pulled, Joe Biden's like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, he doesn't want that role. Fuck that.
I'm not dealing with this. I'm not going to be in charge of you guys. So is it Kamala Harris?
No.
Probably not. She's not going to be the one directing policy.
Hakeem Jeffries is probably the closest thing to the leader right now.
Right now, the strongest Democrat is Hakeem Jeffries. Maybe Chuck Schumer.
No.
But
Oh, God, no, Chuck Schumer, no. He's still living in the 60s.
Yeah.
I agree with
I would definitely say Hakeem.
Everybody's done with Chuck Schumer.
All right. Tracy just said, user, I don't think they've heard about the announcement at 8:30 trying to legislate a third term. Tracy, we have heard about it. We've actually even discussed it. The idea that somebody's going to put that up in Congress, the idea that it's going to pass, and even if it does pass somehow, which I doubt, it'll never pass because it's in the Constitution. You only get 2 terms. It's going to be like the birthright citizenship. It's going to take forever, and he's never going to accomplish it. So we did talk about that. Now I want to bring up Grace. Grace, are you there?
Hello. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Grace, what's on your mind?
So what I searched for after the election was why Christians specifically voted for Trump versus Harris, and why we lost that demographic when he's so repulsive. And what I learned is that for a lot of Christians, for them it's like voting for in terms of Jesus or not, like you're voting along with Jesus or not. So I honestly don't think it's safe to choose a Jewish person or a gay person if we want to win an election along with a woman or right now a black person. Unfortunately, I just think that's the truth.
Yeah, I know what you mean. We're dealing with a lot of, first of all, when we're talking about evangelicals and the people that follow Donald Trump, these aren't Christians. They're fake Christians because they are contrary to what Christianity teaches. But they wear the Christianity like they hold it like a shield. Like, I can say fucked up shit, but I'm a Christian, so you got to leave me alone. And that is frustrating. But you're right. There's a lot of small towns and a lot of backwoods areas that think they're Christians, and they wouldn't vote for somebody who's gay or black or a woman or that sort of thing. And as fucked up as that sounds like it is to say, you're absolutely right, Grace. It's absolutely true, and it's sad.
Meanwhile, they vote for Trump, who has openly admitted he's not a Christian.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat said, Trump is Jesus to millions. I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, the same people that voted for Trump thinking he's a Christian are the same ones that voted saying Mitt Romney was a good Christian and that Barack Obama was Islamic.
Yeah. Barack Obama should have committed to what religion he is. He wasn't Islamic. He wasn't a Muslim. I don't know that he was religious at all, other than, believing in God, but he didn't belong to a church. When you're talking about Mormons, I've known many Mormons. They claim to be Christian, but some of their ideas are really fucking weird. They're more like a cult, and I'm sorry to any Mormons out there listening. That's just my opinion. I don't think badly of them. Every Mormon I met was very nice to me.
Listen,
And they can believe whatever they want to believe. But
we have a friend who has a restraining order against the Mormon Church because she used to be a member and had to get a restraining order against them.
Yeah, there are some similarities between Mormonism and Scientology in as far as how they handle the people that step away.
think about the rhetoric. Think about the rhetoric about Obama. Probably most people in here remember when Obama was president. Think about the rhetoric that we had back then, where he was born in Kenya. It's the whole birther thing and all that. Like, that's not jack shit compared to what's going on today. It's not like that was controversial. Remember how controversial that was? And,
Absolutely.
And today, that's like nothing. It's nothing compared to the fucking crazy shit that is happening right now.
Absolutely. So, Grace, do you have anybody in mind that you would? Yeah, exactly. Well, they called this bishop, this Episcopal bishop.
God, yes.
They climbed all over her ass and they were threatening her life because she told Donald Trump he needs to be merciful.
They're crucifying that poor
Christians.
woman. Crucifying
Those
her.
aren't Christians. Those aren't Christians at all. So, Grace, who would you think would be a good candidate coming for 2028?
I mean, unfortunately, I haven't really looked into that.
No problem.
But I mean, I personally would vote for Buttigieg or Shapiro, but I just know that there are these Americans who think that voting Republican is equivalent of voting for, Jesus. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Grace, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it. You're welcome back anytime. Thank you very much. All right.
Thanks, Grace.
Okay.
Grace felt bad that she didn't have anybody particularly picked out, and I don't fault her for that. We don't know. And the reason we don't know is because the Democrats don't fucking know. They need to step up. They need to tell us who we need to look into.
Oh, yeah. Democrats need to come up with a person, and they don't have an idea yet. There's the bench is deep for the Democrats, but I've been saying for a while they need to have 2-3 people tops that are going to run. Kind of take it back to how they used to do the primaries, where the party kind of decided, but have it narrowed down, or you're going to miss out on a good candidate because somebody happened to get 30% in a bunch of primaries, in a bunch of caucuses early. We can't be so divided that we ruin everything.
Absolutely. I'm pulling I want to get as many people as I can in here. So we're going to try this one. We'll see if she crops up. Her name is Melissa. Assuming TikTok doesn't screw us over and not connect her, which it looks like it's doing. Jesus Christ. I don't know if it's TikTok or the person requesting, but I'm going to get out of that. Let me try another person real quick here, because I want to hear from some of the other folks. Okay. We'll see. Okay, this one comes up. It's called Hard Rock. Hard Rock. What's up?
So, all right, I'm a Trump supporter. However, I do happen to think that Josh Shapiro is probably the most articulate person on the Democratic Party that could actually run for president and give somebody a good run for their money.
Right.
And I don't understand, and I think he's actually probably the best one the Democrats have, and I still can't to this day figure out why they didn't actually run a legit caucus before just handing over the nomination to Kamala Harris, because I truly believe that a lot of Democrats thought that Kamala was just a really bad candidate, actually. Josh Shapiro would have done a hell of a better job as a candidate. But by saying that, the girl before, I can't remember what her name was, she was saying before that basically saying that the United States is not ready to elect a woman, or doesn't want to have a black man, or doesn't want to have a Jewish person running for president because of some Catholic or some Christian reasons, is basically saying that the majority of the country is actually racist. And I find that so ridiculous when people start criticizing the country, saying that it's a racist country. When we elected a black man for president in 2008, not only for one term, but we elected him for 2 terms. So
okay. Now hold on a second though. That's true, and that's been a bee in the bonnet of every fucking Republican since we voted him in. We've got 49% of the country that voted for somebody who has racist tendencies and is passing racist laws right now. So to suggest the whole country's racist, no. But I'm guessing close to half is.
So
let me ask you, what is your name? Hard Rock. Did you vote for Obama?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, of course you didn't.
Why not?
What does that matter?
Well, because you said we. You said
well,
we.
Well, yeah, because I'm an American citizen and I vote.
You're like saying that you are speaking for all Americans.
Well, I'm an American that votes. I've been voting for years, so I'm part of I've been part of the voting system for a long time. So whether my candidate wins or loses doesn't matter. I participated in it. So yes, I say that we voted them in because we're all Americans that are voting. So
what's your take on the immigration issue?
See, that's what I mean. It's like I'm considering myself as we, like as in one, in a sense, and you're trying to kind of divide us.
No, sir. I asked you a question. What's your take on the immigration issue?
I think that for years the immigration issue has needed an overhaul, and nobody's been actually able to figure it out. And I think that this last administration really was immigration issues on steroids, and because you know.
But here's the deal. The Republicans and Democrats did figure out at least to start to immigration and start to the border, but Donald Trump shut it down. So that's Joe Biden's fault?
It wasn't just because Donald Trump just shot it down. In all these ridiculous bills, they just can't do a bill based on one thing. They have to always throw in pork. They always have to throw in some kind of stuff that, just to appease somebody else, little pet projects or whatever. And I can't remember what it was called, but in that bill was a clause that if that bill was to pass, it was gonna paralyze any future president, whether or not it would be Trump or anybody else, that it would literally take away much of the rights of the president to be able to decide what to do with the border. So the reason why that they didn't...
No, that was not in that bill.
What's that?
That was not in that bill.
I'm sorry?
That was not in that bill. It was straightforward.
It was the bill that was turned down by Congress over the border?
Yes, the one that Trump killed.
Hard Rock. If the bill was so bad, why did Mitch McConnell say it was the most comprehensive border reform bill that they could ever hope for? Why?
In the history of this country.
Well, first of all, so do you believe that there is corruption on both sides of the aisle?
Yes,
of course.
Okay,
everybody.
And I do too.
Politicians.
I do too. I believe that there's many politicians on both sides of the aisle that have been lining their pockets for a lot of years, and I think Mitch McConnell is one of them.
Absolutely.
Well, that's fine, but Mitch McConnell is a staunch conservative. So if that bill was shit and there was a bunch of pork in it, why did Mitch McConnell say that it was the most comprehensive border reform bill that they've ever seen?
Well, I just told you, I believe that Mitch McConnell is a corrupt politician, and I think that...
Do you think that Mitch McConnell wants to be the divisiveness, your quote-unquote divisiveness of the Democratic Party? No. If it had a bunch of pork in it that benefited liberals or whoever, like Mitch McConnell would not be in favor of that. That's ridiculous.
Plus,
Not necessarily.
they could have pointed that out in the news on Fox News, like on every news channel, and they
crucified
didn't.
Mitch McConnell for that. Crucified him.
Yeah. The point is there was an option up there, and if you want to talk about pork and things or bullshit in bills, that's in virtually every bill. I'll give you an example. The Republicans put up a bill to do some humanitarian work in Ukraine, but they also stuffed that TikTok bill in there, which had nothing to fucking do with what they were trying to do. They were trying to put a red pill in there. They were trying to play a fucking game. It's not just Democrats, it's Republicans, and it's a bunch of bullshit that we have to deal with all the time in Congress. Let me ask you this, Hard Rock. Donald Trump has been president for 3 or 4 days right now. You happy with the way things are going on right now? You like the way it's looking?
So far, I'm concerned about a couple of things, but yeah, so far I am. I think I don't think there's really any bit of a surprise about what's going on right now. Everything that he's doing right now, he didn't hide anything from anybody. He told everybody exactly what his intentions are, exactly what he wants to do, and he's doing it. So, there's not going to be any president that's going to ever do everything 100% to our liking. It's just not going to happen. I don't care who you are, whether you're Trump or...
You seem like you're fairly, not a complete dumb fuck, like a lot of people. I don't mean to say that in, a bad light, but you seem like you're not. You have, you speak fairly well. But what were your key points in voting for Trump?
What did you like?
Well, narrowing it down to one is kind of difficult, but...
It's not asking for one, it's asking for many.
Oh, well, there is many.
Okay.
Immigration issues, I think, are a major issue with this country right now. There is definitely more border crosses than what actually your media is admitting to. As opposed to
facts actually show that under Biden that there are less, and that he's turned more away than Trump ever did.
I know, and I don't think that's.
I'm going to ask the question.
I don't think that's. Well, yeah, if he's turning more away than Trump ever did, that's probably a good indication that there's more people crossing. So that could be part of the reason too.
Well,
so you think
Biden is a sympathetic president? So
you think it's a good idea to send?
As the only person of color on this board, so do you think that the ICE people and everyone, racial profiling everyone who's a brown skin, is the way you're supposed to handle immigration?
Well, see,
picking up citizens, picking up everyone, separating families. Do you think that's a good thing?
See, this is where a lot of the problems stop between conservatives, liberals, Democrats, Republicans, Americans alike, all over the place. Is that now you're throwing in the race thing, right? The race card, because there's more than just
is a
brown.
Race card.
No, it isn't the race card because there's a lot of people crossing the border that
stopped by
there's a lot of people that there's a lot of people crossing the border that are also white skinned. They're coming in from other Oh, okay. So you just want to play the race card because it's a lot easier to spread.
Sir, I'm going to play because that's the way they play it to me.
It's not a skin color issue that this is about.
Yes, sir, it is.
Why do you say that? What's your proof? What is your proof?
I'll tell you why. Because each one of them, because each person that's been stopped have been a person of color. They walk up to brown people and ask him, "Are you a citizen of the United States?" If they hear people speaking Spanish, they question whether they're a citizen of the United States. There's a guy in New Jersey who was a Hispanic, a legal citizen, is now in jail trying to prove his citizenship. You, being a white man, don't understand that. You think that we're being decisive? No. Let me finish my point, sir. You sick them on us because that makes you feel better to watch brown people getting abused. That's my take.
Now you're accusing me of something that's total bullshit, and you have no right doing it whatsoever. You don't know me. You have no idea. You're categorizing something that you have no right even doing. Okay, so first of all, yeah, is the majority of people crossing the border brown? Yeah, they probably are, but that doesn't mean that they're the only ones. Secondly, how, okay.
Why are they only rounding up brown ones in this country? Why is that the case? Why are there letters going out saying it's the brown roundup? Why is that happening if it's everybody? That's absolutely, that's what a racist says. Oh, it's not everybody. It's everybody. It's not just brown people. We just happen to be getting all the brown people. That's bullshit, Hard Rock, and you know it.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Because where are these countries? Where the countries that these people are coming from? What is the what is
Central America and South America? That's where they're coming from.
What is the color of their skin? I mean, if that's the case, if that's the case, then I mean, there's your answer. I mean,
but what I don't know. What is wrong with people trying to seek asylum in a country that would make their lives better? They pay
because first of all, we don't know exactly if they're actually seeking asylum. I mean, if they're coming here from Ukraine or something, that's a different story. You know that they're seeking asylum. But exactly what Donald Trump says is that a lot of these countries, instead of spending money to house all of their crooks and criminals and murderers and everything else, right? They have been released from prisons and they've been released from hospitals and they let them go.
That is fake news. That's all fake news. Do you know where the majority of the guns in Mexico come from? Do you know where the majority of the guns in Mexico come from? For the drug cartels and everything? Do you know where the majority of the guns in Mexico come from for the drug cartels?
There's probably crooks in the United States that want to make a lot of money and drug arms deals and everything else. I mean, it's been going on for years.
In the United States that supply them.
Yeah, sold by
let me ask you a question, Hard Rock.
Corrupt soldiers and military.
Let me ask you a question, Hard Rock. Are you going to be turning in people you see of brown color to ICE? Are you going to be calling the hotline?
No, it's not my. It's not my job.
Are you sure?
Don't be accusing me of something, buddy. I don't know. You don't know me, and I don't know you. I could sit here and I can make accusations about you right now, but I'm not going to. You want to play that game with me? I don't really. I'm not playing your game, dude.
Hold on a second, all of you. We're at that point where we're going to wrap things up, and this is probably a good point to do it. First of all, I'll say, Hard Rock, thank you for being somewhat reasonable, which is rare enough amongst Trumplafucks. I just have a couple of quick questions before we wrap this up. When are the egg prices coming down? When is inflation coming down? When is energy going to be half price? And when is that Ukraine-Russia war going to be over? Because he said he would do it the first day he got into office.
I know, and if you and everybody else actually took it literal, that's on you. All right, you listen. We all know that Trump has he talks a lot. Okay, but he also does get things done. So 3 days into his presidency, and you want eggs to be down under $2 again. 3 days in his presidency, you want to see gas. Give it some time. All I can say is give it some time. Stop being so so wrapped up in everything that he says, because you really don't care about when the eggs go down. You really don't care about it or anything at all, because all it is about you trying to make him look like a liar, and he's filling everybody full of bullshit because eggs haven't dropped down yet, gas hasn't dropped down yet. Why don't you just be more realistic and give it the time that it needs in order for it to happen? Just like Joe Biden says, everybody's going to struggle for a little while.
I'm just going to dump you off. I'm going to dump you off because you can't shut up. You got to shut up. Here's the thing. I'll give you another question that you should be able to answer. He was president for 4 years, 2017 to 2021. Other than a tax break for wealthy people, what did he get done? Give me 2 things he got done.
Well, I mean, hell, he got a lot of things done for the black community. He got
like what? Don't tell me generalities. Give me something specific.
Oh Lord.
The Second Chance Act, or what is it, Second Chance? What is it called? Yeah, maybe the Second Chance Act or some shit like that.
You don't know, and my point is taken. Thank you, Hard Rock, for joining us.
Well,
Jesus Christ. I tell you what, I'm going to wrap this thing up.
I feel better about America now.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I'm going to wrap things up. We're late, and I don't want to deal with fucks like that anymore. Thanks to all of you guys for joining us.
Thank you guys.
And for those of you listening, thanks for taking the time. Hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.